Travis, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
It's very exciting. Right, let's dive into the 10 fire questions. Are you ready?
Right. I think so. Let's do it.
All right. Number one, these are easy ones. How old are you?
That's a hard one because I just turned 35. Now I have to count.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Number two, where were you born?
I was born in Redondo Beach in Southern California.
Wow. Number three, where do you live now?
I live in Manhattan Beach in Southern California, so close by.
Number four, what's your favorite part of the day and why?
I love mornings. It's my favorite part because it's quiet. It's like before the world wakes up, I get some quiet time.
I love that. Number five, sweet or savory?
Savory.
You know, when I was writing these questions, I was like, he's going to say savory. My intuition already knew. Number six, dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Number seven, what do you love about yourself?
Oh, God, there's so much.
Yay! That's the best answer.
To pick just one, I think my authenticity.
Number eight, okay, a book that you think everyone in the world needs to read.
Becoming Supernatural.
By Dr. Joe Dispenza, is that?
You got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Number nine, do you have a favorite quote or a mantra that you like to live by or tell your clients?
Love yourself.
Oh, love it. Obviously. Then anything's possible. As Gina Swire says, when you love you, anything is possible.
Everything's possible. Yeah.
Okay, the last question. I reached out to you and asked you to come on this podcast. So grateful you said yes. Why did you say yes? Because I didn't force you, promise.
No one can force me to do anything nowadays. Why did I say yes? Well, you're a beautiful soul. I knew the conversation is going to be great. And I get to talk about human design, which I can talk about all day, every day. So.
Yay. Thank you. Yeah. I know I really appreciate your time. I'm so excited for this. Okay.
Thank you so much. I love the 10 questions. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like just breaks the ice a little bit and it's kind of bringing a bit of my personality, like fun into it. So I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. Great.
All right. Let's start with how you ended up where you are today in terms of how did Travis end up doing human design? And I know you've had quite a journey on your bio. Like just tell us briefly how and why and where and what's and all that.
Yeah, Travis grew up an angry, depressed, confused man. I had anger issues. My upbringing was great. It was like everything you could have asked for as a kid. I grew up right by the beach. I learned to surf, but I was just confused because of the one size fits all way to be successful, especially as a man. Be productive. Go out and do it on your own and just grind it out, and the hustle culture and all that stuff just doesn't resonate with me. And I knew from a very early age that something's wrong with the pace of the world. And I just never felt like I fit in. I always felt like I didn't belong here. And we'll get to why that is. As a non-energy type, I'm a projector, and we'll talk about that. But I just operate a little bit slower. I need a little bit more rest. And so I just kind of grew up confused, and that made me very bitter and very angry at the world. But I tried. I worked really hard. I had a bunch of different jobs. I did a bunch of different things. And long story short, when I was 33, pretty much like January of 2020, before COVID hit, I got to a point where I was just so burnt out and exhausted and hating myself because I was trying to be somebody else. I was trying to work the 14-hour days. I was starting a business at the time, which I still have. I'm in a different role now, but I was trying to be the way I thought a CEO was supposed to operate and prove my worth to everybody. And at one point, I've had health issues my whole life, way too early on. And so I got to a point where I was like, I'm done. if I keep going this way, I'm going to die. My body is going to shut down. If anything, you know, I know I'm not going to make it. So I just kind of hit rock bottom, and I said, like, I don't know where this came from, but one night I was just like, I don't care if I wind up broke and alone on the street. I can't pretend anymore. I'm just going to honor what's inside of me, how I feel, and I'm going to do what is going to make me happy, no matter what it looks like on the outside. Because that's what I was really worried about, was like, I want my mentors to tell me I'm working hard and that I'm good and all that kind of stuff. So I just had this switch flip where I just didn't fucking care anymore.
Wow.
And literally the next week, I had more success, more money, more stuff just like flowing towards me. It was a joke. It was like a sick joke. I was like, I had to get to this point to experience what this actual flow state was. You know, I hit like a flow state for the first time in my life. And then 3 months later, human design found me. And when I learned about my human design, it was just a validation of everything that I had started doing after that switch flipped. And I read one paragraph about myself, and that was it. I've never felt more seen. I've never had more permission to do what makes me feel good. And that was it. I was hooked.
Wow. Thank you for sharing all of that.
Hmm.
And it's hit a chord with me, because it's took me also a while to figure out who the hell I am. And I've learned throughout my journey, being who we really are is the easiest. No, let me rephrase this. It's the simplest thing ever, because we are who we are, but it's the hardest thing to do in the world that we live in. And I'm curious, like, when you were growing up and you noticed that discord and things didn't feel right, was you consciously aware that you weren't being yourself? Like, were you having to rein back, or was it just like an uneasy feeling unconsciously that you weren't aware of?
That's a great question. I think in my soul, I knew all I wanted was recognition that being me was okay. And, that's very common with my type. We all want to be seen. We all want to be recognized, because, I've always known that my purpose wasn't tied to any sort of achievement or energetic output. I knew I couldn't keep up. So in order to cope with that, I grew up with 3 siblings in a very busy household. So there wasn't much one-on-one attention. I became really, really smart and really funny, and had to figure out, like, how do I get attention if it's not going to be through my achievements? So I think to your question, I think I did know on a very deep level that I wasn't being myself. And so I had to just try to adapt.
Wow, that's amazing. I actually asked my group coaching ladies if they had any questions before we dove in. And the response I got was the response I expected, which, of course, what we believe we believe we get attracted into our lives. And the most obvious question is, what is human design, and how is it different to, is it astronomy or astrology? Because there's a difference there.
There's so much involved, but one of the 4 major ones is astrology. We use astrology. Yeah. But there is a whole rave cosmology aspect to human design. It goes very, very deep. You can look at every lens of history, what's going on, global energy cycles, what's happening in the future, what's going on with the human race. There's so much into human design. So at the very beginning, what it is it's really a synthesis of these 4 ancient wisdoms that have been around forever. That's the Chinese I Ching, that's Western and Eastern astrology. There's stuff pulled from the Kabbalah, the Tree of Life, and then we use energy centers. When you pull up your chart, you'll see we have 9 energy centers, and those are pulled from the Hindu Brahmin chakra systems.
Wow.
So it came into the world in 1987, and he was shown how these 4 knowledges
That makes
These
sense
four,
to me.
okay,
Yeah, go with
whatever.
that.
I had to stumble at some point. How they click together in like the most bizarre, beautiful, symmetrical way. And so we kind of say that human design is the only true Aquarian knowledge because it pulls these ancient wisdoms from all around the globe. And they just click into this way where you can see yourself, how your energy works, how your aura interacts with other people, you know, what the major themes are of your life, what are your strengths, what can you rely on, your relationships, bonding strategies. You know, there's so much to look at from this lens, but really when you break it down, it's how do I be myself? How do I fill my unique incarnative purpose? And it's very simple.
It
Which I
is when
think
you've
is
got
part of
you
the problem.
describing it.
Yeah. Yes. If when you get I mean, when you pull it up, I was so overwhelmed when I first saw it. I was like, I pulled up my chart. I was like, what the fuck is this? I'm done. Too much, whatever. But when it's explained to you, it's actually so simple in the way it comes together. And you really don't need to know much to try it out. It's an experiment. It's not a belief system. You don't have to study this for years to get the benefit of it, which I think is why it's so different from astrology and these other kind of esoteric teachings, is so there's so much interpretation and there's so, oh, what does that mean? Okay, how am I going to implement that in my life? Human design is so logical. And it's like, here's two things that you can try out today to see if it works for you, to see if it brings more flow into your life and eliminates resistance. Which I think in the culture we live in of this information age it's hard to do that. It's like, I want more information. Let me think about it a little bit longer. Let me take a course. I don't want to try this out and make a change in my life. You know, I think we really struggle with the simplicity of this shit's scary because I could literally try it right now and watch my life unfold in maybe a completely different direction than I thought. So it's really just a tool to see yourself. It's a permission slip to be you. And when you do that, I'm telling you, the flow that comes in and you know, just the excitement and joy of life is incredible.
I agree, because after obviously my listeners, I've had a reading with Travis, and I'm recommending it to everybody, and they're having them too. After our call, I was like, holy shit. I didn't think I needed a permission slip so much because I'd done a lot of inner work, but it was like you'd handed me the ultimate permission slip, and I don't need another one again because I feel like I fully understand and know myself. And then sometimes when I'm going out of alignment a little bit, like as a manifestor, and we're going to go into the energy types, obviously, I go, and this is obviously knowledge from you, I go, but then there's times I just need to do fuck all and just rest, ready to receive the next idea. So when I'm not resting and I'm trying to be more of like a generator energy, I'm like, oh wait, no, there's a reason why I'm not feeling right, because when did I last rest and allow an idea to come to me? So when someone who doesn't know what human design is, now they do in context, what are the main energy types for a human design then?
Yes. So just something to that point. I don't think that anything has all the answers. I'm a magical being. I do a lot of different other practices and things like that. I love human design, like you said, because it just gives you that core of who you are and what you can trust. So once you have that kind of like user manual or like roadmap to how to use your energy most efficiently, then when you go out and do all the things you're going to do in this life, you can take what works for you and leave the rest. And I find like that's really the hard part, especially in coaching. Like I'm a projector. And so the four types are the generator, which is about 70% of humanity are generators. We really live in a generator world. They're the chosen ones, we like to say. We have the manifestor, which is about 9%. We have the projector, which is about 20 something percent. And then we have the reflector, which is like 1% or less. They're really the unique ones. So each different type, when you come to human design, we give you your type. It's really just showing you how your aura works. So when we talk about aura in human design, it's not just the energy you're putting out into the world. We all put energy out. It's really a mechanical way that your energy is designed to function. So how do you meet others? How do you meet the world? Do things come to you, or are you the initiator? Like the manifestor is the one who doesn't really have to wait. Every other type, we're waiting for life. We're waiting for an invitation. We're waiting for something. We all can benefit from slowing down, even the manifestor. But it's just a way to kind of show, okay, this is how my unique energy works. And when you look at your friends and family and you see just type, you're like, holy shit, that is so spot on. I feel the impact of the manifestor, or I feel the warmth and, that enveloping aura of the generator. And then one last thing I'll say about each type, because I just love the themes that come along with them. There's a theme that we're after. And then there's a theme that we experience when we're kind of living out of alignment. So we can start with the generator. The generator theme is satisfaction. Generators are here to use their energy. They're an energy being, to use their energy in a way that satisfies them. That's it. That's how simple it is. So instead of, chasing the money and chasing the fame and chasing the likes, if you're using your energy in a way that satisfies you, that's generator heaven. Nothing else matters. The money comes. If you're supposed to be famous in this life, it will come with ease and you'll be satisfied. Where you look at so many people who have tons of money or who had tons of fame and they're miserable, they still don't get it. Well, hey, they're not getting their signature. So the generator signature is satisfaction. The not self theme, which is what we call when you're out of alignment, is frustration. For the generator. So are you using your energy in a way that's frustrating you? Well, you're probably just saying yes to things that are really no's. And it's really simple to figure out. You know if you're doing something you really don't want to do, but then that's where we talk about the conditioning. Well, generators are conditioned to sacrifice themselves for other people, to give their energy for free because they know they're here to help others. And that's not the way to do it. So satisfaction, frustration, it's really fun to play with those, because when that frustration bubbles up, it's such a great signpost to say, where am I out of alignment? Where am I saying yes when it's really a no? Where am I done with a job when I need to move on? It's really fun to say, okay, my frustration's present, and a lot of times it's very easy to point out what's causing it.
That's awesome.
Then we'll get, yeah. Anything you want to say about that?
That's it. They say that's awesome, because going back to the simplicity of it, which our human brain doesn't like to listen to because we want complicated things most of the time, because we want to procrastinate and not actually take the action. But that's a great question that generators can ask themselves. If I feel frustration, what is out of alignment? And then when you're in your soul's path, your soul's journey, you feel satisfaction. So that's very simple, but it can have massive life changes if you listen and then follow and get, approach the frustration with intrigue, from a non-judgmental place, get curious about it and then make changes from there. That's great. So let's go
100%.
Manifesto, which is who I am.
I'm trying. Let me pull up your chart, just so I have some more reference. Do you have your chart with you?
I can send it you quickly on. I took a picture of it. So how do you want me to send it to you?
Yeah. Can you just DM it to me?
Yeah, of course I can.
I'm trying to pull it up in my system and it's not popping up for some reason. It's so weird.
Fine. Let me DM it to you. So let's go on to yours then. You're a projector.
I am a projector.
Right, Travis.
Yeah.
Just
so
as queens while we're faffing around, it's all good.
Yeah.
Keeping it real here.
I always like giving people a little break.
Because what they can probably do now is be like, what design am I? What energy type am I? What do you recommend for them to find? Obviously, you can do it for them, obviously, but if they want to just quickly check now and then find out what energy type they are, what website would you recommend for them to go to?
Yes. Perfect time to press pause and go get your chart. So anybody can do it for free. I recommend a website. You can just go to human.design and you can enter your birth. All you'll need is your birthday, time, and location. That's what we use to populate your chart. And so at human.design, you can either, when you do that, he'll even send you a free little mini report where he gives you a few paragraphs to describe your energy centers and your type. And it's actually really informative for what he gives out for free. And then he also has things on there that you can pay a little bit extra and get a more detailed report as well. So go to human.design, enter in your information, and you can pull up your chart.
Okay, amazing.
Yes. All right.
And get a reading by Travis, obviously.
And get a reading by me. And when you pull up your chart and you're completely overwhelmed because it looks complicated, yeah. When it's really not, I highly recommend a reading it as well. It will clarify a lot of stuff for you.
Oh, I want you to do a massive plug at the end for sure, but
I will.
But definitely, honestly, and we're not just saying this like to joke. Like, I've had a reading by Travis and a reading from someone else before I met Travis, and this isn't to slate the person that I had. She was very good, but I say to people who I recommend Travis to, which is everyone, the reason you need to go with Travis is because it is his passion. Like, those that follow me will know that what I do is my passion. It's obvious because I just have so much love and energy for it. Travis lives and breathes it and loves it. And there's a difference between someone just doing it for a bit of extra money with the knowledge they have and someone like yourself, Travis, who just fucking loves it, genuinely loves it. So you get his passion behind the knowledge as well. And that is priceless.
Thank you. I didn't choose this path. We say in human design, you don't really get to choose. It just kind of unfolds for you. And I never thought in a million years I would be doing anything like this or giving human design readings. But yeah, thank you so much for that. It is, I live and breathe it. It's definitely part of my purpose. So thank you. Okay. Should we get back to the types?
Yes. Types. Manifesto. Okay.
So then we have the manifester, the 9% of humanity that doesn't really have to wait like the other types do. And their themes are peace. They want to be at peace to be able to manifest whatever it is that they want without resistance. And we talk about how much, growing up as a manifestor, you have a very impactful aura. And because there's so much impact, even at a young age, this kind of invites a lot of resistance. A lot of people trying to stand in your way, control your power, whatever. But you do meet a lot of resistance as a manifestor. So peace is what you're after. And the flip side of that is anger. Manifestors carry with them a lot of anger. And I think a lot of it has to do with the resistance that you experience in this life. And you can speak to any of this if you like. But when you're angry, it's usually because you're not using your strategy, which is to inform other people what you're going to do before you do it. You don't have to, but this is kind of like, we say the manifestor is really the only one that has like this PR stunt that they need to do to fit in with the other types, let me get everybody else at ease so that I can be left alone to do my own thing, because manifestors hate being told what to do. So
that is if anyone who really knows me will absolutely be laughing right now, because I hate being told what to do. And it's ever since I was a young age. And I would almost do, not so much now because I've grown up, but I would do the opposite just on purpose, just to do the opposite of what someone told me.
That's classic. Yes. Yeah. We talked a little bit about your anger. Have you been experimenting with that? Have you seen that have you been letting that come out more? What's going on with your anger? I'd love to know.
I never thought I resonated with anger, but since having my reading, I feel it. But then because the good girl, in quotes, like conditioning has taught me not to express it, and we can express it in a healthy way, of course. I now express anger by sharing my truth from a place of compassion. Like, I'm not happy about this because of this. And then I tend to dance and move the energy through me that way. But from learning what my strategy is like to inform people, which basically means let them know what the fuck I'm going to do before I just go and do it anyway. That's helped massively, because what I've done my whole entire life is do the thing I want to do anyway, because I didn't want the resistance of someone questioning what I was going to do. So I was like, well, I'm just going to do it anyway and then deal with the consequences after. And so it makes so much sense for me, because the resistance that we how like manifestors experience most of their lives. As an adult, when I could do more what I wanted to do, I would just not inform in order to receive the resistance after I've already done the thing I wanted to do anyway. So it makes so much sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Beautiful. You know so much.
Yeah, I'm quite, well, from my personal and spiritual development journey as well, like before I fell into personal development, I didn't really know myself very well, but that was still who I was. I was still living my design, but I was more out of alignment for sure.
Yeah. And that's the thing. When you come to human design, I'm probably not going to tell you anything that's going to blow your mind. It might be like really exciting, like, oh my gosh, but really like deep down in your soul, you already know this stuff. We know who we are, we know who we came here to be. It's built into our body, our intuition, that intelligence that our mind can't really comprehend. So yeah, it's just such a relief. It's like, I can breathe. Wow. This is how I can be. Okay. So manifestor, peace, anger. And I heard a really interesting quote the other day about how, the manifestor is really the only one that's like not allowed to express their not self theme of anger. And if you think about all the types, so I'll just hit them really quick. Again, the generator is frustration, projector, which we're about to get to, is bitterness. And then the reflector is disappointment. So all three of those, it's okay to be bitter. It's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to be frustrated. But if you're out in public and you're going to express your anger, that's not okay. Someone will call the police. Someone will say, oh, what's going on over here? There, it attracts attention and it's not allowed. So you can even see as a manifestor, I think that's why so many people have problems expressing their anger, which is so healthy as a manifestor to find healthy ways to express that anger. It's the only emotion that's like illegal.
Yeah.
That's like people get freaked out and talk about resistance again, so that was such an interesting way to explain, the resistance that the manifestor feels. It's like literally outlawed if you take it to the extreme,
That's so key. And what I used to do is instead of expressing anger, I'd just cry because I felt this boiling hot energy and I'd just cry because I'm used to suppressing myself the whole time, but body movement for me, working out, running, dancing, that allows me to like, and also shouting is fine as long as the person you're shouting at understands you and you say sorry after. That's also all good.
Yeah, totally. We have to, that's another great thing about human design is we don't get rid of any of this stuff. They say, another quote I heard the other day, which was beautiful, was grace is how fast you could move from anger to humor. I was like, oh, that's deep. If you think about like how fast can you move from your not self theme to comedy or to humor, it's like, wow. So it's not like we get rid of these emotions, but we can move through that anger so much faster when we express it. If you don't express it, it turns into that like gross, heavy resentment that again, talk about physical issues. I had so much bitterness in my body that my body was breaking down. So when we hold it all in, it really hurts us. And so human design is such an awesome way to be able to feel all the feels, but get to the other side way, way faster and let it move through us. So I think anger with the manifestor is such an important one. And, I have such a special place in my heart for manifestors. They are rare, but I attract so many manifestors in my life. I do tons of manifestor readings. And I think, there's just a special connection there for me.
Yay. My ego loves the fact that it was only 9% of the people. I was like, my ego totally loves this. So funny.
Yep. It's so funny when I tell people they're generators too, and they're just like, "Oh, I'm just a generator," And you're just like, "You're the chosen one. You're like the only like holy being in this world. Like you're really the perfect mechanism that like runs life and humanity." So it is funny how we all want to feel special, and every single person's chart is unique. Every single person.
Is there ever someone with exactly the same chart in the world?
No.
Wow.
No. And there's reasons why, and we can dive into that. It gets a little more complicated, but there's 64 gates that are scattered throughout your chart. If you went and did your chart, you'll see these little numbers that are scattered out. That's what we call a gate. That comes from the Chinese I Ching. There's over 1,080 ways that one of those gates can express itself. It gets really deep into what we call the substructure. So no, every single chart is different. Even twins that are born, one came out a little bit before the other one, and so that changes everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
By the way, before you get into the next one, I don't know if this has any resonance whatsoever, but the human design was founded in 1987.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I was born, 1987. It probably has no resonance to it.
Me too.
Yay!
Yeah. And there was a supernova in 1987.
Oh, special time.
So we're even more special than everyone listening.
Our egos
you
are
weren't
just
born
growing
in
and growing and growing.
We both have a defined heart, so everyone with the open heart is probably just grossed out by now. But yeah, the supernova.
Projector.
Okay. Projector. All right, let's get to the projector. So the manifestor and the generator are what we call energy beings, meaning that their purpose is really tied to a display of their energy. It's the majority. 80% of humanity are energy beings. You're here to use your energy. The manifestor's here to impact with their energy. The generator's here to be satisfied by the way they use their energy. So the projector is considered a non-energy being. And this is what gets really confusing being a projector and growing up in this world of energy beings. We are really here to guide. We're here to play with the energy. We're here to see things in a deeper way. Our aura is focused and penetrating. So it works one-on-one. We're only good with one person at a time. And when we focus in, you get all of our attention, and our attention goes straight to your, who am I? We see you, but our theme is success. We're the only one whose theme is actually success. And to us, success is recognition. Success is, am I seen for what I can offer, which is what I see, which is how I guide. We're really good at systems. We're really good at figuring out why things work, and, especially how people work and how energy works. And because we don't have our own, in human design, when you have an open center, this is where you go to school. This is where you become wise, because we get to taste every single type of generator. Whereas if you're a generator and you have that center colored in, your sacral center colored in, that's what makes you a generator. You only know that specific type of energy, your energy. That's it. You don't get to know every other generator. But as the projector, because we're open in those areas, we get to understand that. We get to learn about it, and we get to guide it. So our success has nothing to do with productivity, has nothing to do with any type of display of energy. And that's not okay in this life.
Yeah.
That's not like, oh, what are, we're talking the other day of like, what do I tell people? I'm a contemplator, like that's not you can't be a contemplator in this life. Like,
I'm a successful contemplator.
Yeah. No, that's not in the list of jobs that you can get when you're older, So that's why as a projector, a lot of times we feel like we're on the outside looking in. A lot of times we feel like, oh shit, I can't keep up with this pace or whatever. When you're younger, we can amplify, we can pretend, we can be a super generator or super manifester. And that's why the projector's body usually gives out before anybody else's. We'll get health problems because we're operating at a pace that we can't keep up with. So we're really here to guide. And then we're after success. We want to feel successful. We want people to tell us good job. We want to be seen. We want to be recognized. So if you have a projector in your life, they really love that true recognition when it's real, when they're being recognized for something that they're really good at. And the other side of that is bitterness, which is literally the perfect word that sums up my first 30 years on the planet. Maybe not 30. I did have a wonderful childhood, but when I started realizing things weren't adding up, I got super, super bitter. And now when that bitterness comes up for me, I can look at my life and say, okay, where am I pushing? Projectors, we don't sell things. We don't go out and get it. We don't make it happen. Neither do generators, really. But when the projector is trying to do that, it's very off-putting to the people around them. Because our aura can be so intense, when we focus in on you, you get 100% of our energy. If that person isn't wanting that, it can feel very intrusive. And if the person does want it, they can get addicted to it, because if you want attention and you got a projector around, like, you're going to be in love, because we can give that to you,
I might trade vows for him for a projector. Not really. Jokes.
But yeah, you'll feel that. So yeah, bitterness and success for the projector.
Then the reflector, we found out the other day, my good soul sister Michelle, she won't mind me sharing, is a reflector, which is 1%. And we were just, before we pressed record, I was like, I would not want to be a reflector, because what the fuck? So just explain what that is.
And here's another cool thing. So many of the problems we run into are because we've created this person in our mind who we think we should be, right? In human design, you could see also who you are, but you can also see who you're not, which I think is way more important. So we've created this, I need to work on myself. Here's my inconsistencies. Let me go fix those. And we say, no, you drop those and you focus on who you are. This is your purpose. So when you think you're supposed to be this way or that way, or you want to be this person, or I want to get this car, or I want this job, or, we're making all of this stuff up mentally, and we think we need to go try to be it. Once you find your design and you see it, you don't want to be anybody else. We kind of say it's a limitation. We're all limited. An orange is an orange because it's not an apple, and it's not a banana, and it's not a pine. When you're describing something, you're describing its limitation. So we all have a limitation, but when you understand that and you lean into it, there's nothing else on earth that you would want to be. So of course you don't want to be a reflector. Neither do I. But if you're a reflector, I'm guessing that there's nothing else they want to be, because that's who they are. They don't have a choice. So reflectors are 1% of the population. They're really here to kind of be the measuring. To be quite honest, I don't know what the fuck they're here to do or be. It's
Michelle, we love you.
It's the one type. When I was in our reading, there's just such a presence and a connection to like the cosmos that we don't have. So the reflector is the only lunar being. They're connected to the moon in a way. I mean, reflector, I'm sure that has something to do with describing the moon, right? They have such a different connection to the cosmos than every other type. And we're solar types. This is me. Here's my purpose. The reflector is this lunar being, and they're here to really reflect back the health of the society, the health of the group they're a part of, the health of the person, the relationship, the friend, whatever. They kind of are reflecting back to them what's going on. And if it's not good, that means, hey, there's something out of alignment here. The health of this community isn't there, or it's not operating correctly, or whatever. So they're really these kind of unique, like, hands of God, if you want to, it can get very esoteric very, very quick, because they're just connected in such a different way. And so their whole chart is open. There's no consistency in that energy, like all the other types have. So, I'm not going to pretend to know anymore. I just know they're very, very special. And there's so much amazing stuff in human design for them to really learn, like, what can they rely on? How is their energy affected every day as the moon moves around the wheel and activates different parts of their chart? There's some really, really fascinating stuff about them.
Do they have a self theme and a not self theme?
Of course. Yeah. So their self theme is surprise. And I think that is the reflector, I think, gets very bored with how homogenized society is. And I think we all do, but the reflector is here to find out what's unique and what's different. Show me your who you are. Show me your uniqueness. Tell me something that only you could tell me, that nobody else on earth could tell me. They're really after that like uniqueness and that specialness. So they, I think, can get very just kind of like, what is this all for? I know there's something else out there, but every time I look around, it's all the same. Same job, same career, same diseases, same problems, same complaints, So I think they're so lit up when there's a surprise, when there's something new available.
Yeah. And they're not, and you said, John, they're not self-theme. I can't remember what you said it was now.
Disappointment.
Oh, that was it. Yeah. Oh, which makes actual sense in the language of like surprise, and the opposite to that would be like a feel like in let down or something.
Yep.
Wow.
Disappointed with life, disappointed with homogenization, disappointed with being bored. I don't know.
Yeah. That's
but
amazing.
yeah, during the reading with your friend, it was really amazing to see her reactions to those.
And I just want to read back what she said to me, because this needs to be written down in words as well. So Michelle said to me, to sum up her reading with Travis, she said, he answered every question I'd ever asked my whole life in like 90 minutes. Mic drop. Like
my ego could barely handle that one,
when she was saying questions, obviously, not just literally like questions, but how the questions you ask, like, what is life all about? Why me? Like the deep questions that you kind of ponder on. So the time has gone fast.
Before she knew anything about being a reflector, she told me before we spoke, like, I have a question about the moon. She's like, I think it's something like it's more than what we think it is, or something like that. And I was like, did you read up on like what it is to be a reflector? And she said, no. And so, there you go. The only lunar being has a question about the moon.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And we've literally got 10 minutes, and there's so many other questions I could ask you.
Yeah.
In 10 minutes, because I want to be mindful of your time as well. And I want to leave the listeners wanting more as well. Can you briefly go over the numbers? So I think what am I?
Oh yeah.
3 and 6? I don't even know.
Let me see.
Like, so I know there's you've not got much time to do this, but like obviously when they go and see their chart, and then they've got the type, and they've got the numbers, just briefly, like, what do those mean? Or a few of them mean, like however much you've got time for.
Yeah. So you're a 4-6, I'm a 1-3. We have harmonic, what we call profile in human design. So everything we're talking about is all energetics. When you walk into a room with a manifestor, you're going to feel their impact because of their aura. When you step into a generator aura, you're going to feel enveloped if they're lit up and excited, or you're going to feel that frustration. So everything we're talking about is energy. What's defined in your chart is like your business card. And this is why when we talk to somebody and they're telling you, I love my job, or I love this thing, and they don't, we feel it. It's a mismatch. We can say whatever we want, but our energy speaks for itself. We don't get to choose we don't get to choose who we are. We don't get to make it up and then go become whatever we want. No, that we are who we are. And we can't skirt around our energy that comes out of us. When we talk about profile in human design, there's 12 different archetypal profiles. And if you think of your energy as like characteristics of yourself, your profile is kind of like your character, how people see you from a personality standpoint, how you bond in relationships. There's so much about profile. And so there's 12 different archetypal profiles. It consists of 2 different numbers. And in human design, a really interesting piece of how the astrology works is that you actually get 2 astrology readings. One from the time of your birth. This is our personality, who we think we are, what we resonate to. And then 88 days before we're born, our body gets its own readout. So our body carries with it its own energy. So your profile consists of these 2 components. And there's 2 numbers. So you're a 4-6. I'm a 1-3. The first number, it comes from your personality side. So you usually resonate with that number a little bit more. The second number comes from your body side, the unconscious, your form. So let's pick apart. Do you want to do yours?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do yours. So the 4 is what we call the networker. The 4 is really, we'll say, like, the quality of your life and your health really depends on the quality of your networker, or of your network, of the close people that are here in your life. So the 4 is really here to kind of externalize something. You're here to like share stuff. You're here to have that kind of like close network of friends. And then if we get to the 6 is really an interesting one because it's the only number that goes in these kind of 3 life stages. So the first 30 years, you're operating as this kind of trial and error type energy. There's something for you to discover. There's, situations that aren't going to work out so that you can learn a lesson. So it can be a very kind of like volatile, crazy type of, first 30 years, pre-Saturn return. So if you put those together, we could say that you'll have trial and error in relationships because as a 4, relationships are so important to you. It's like a friends, when it comes to dating, the 4 is like a friends first type of energy, like
friend zone.
The 4 could be a friend zone, but then all of a sudden not friend zone anymore.
Yeah.
It could be that we always joke with the 4 could be the one that like sleeps with their friends, or like one night something happens and the friend becomes more than a friend or whatever. But it can be very, like, I know we also joke about 4s like not liking dating apps because, dealing with a stranger doesn't really feel good. There's something where there needs to be a level of trust or some sort of relationship established before the intimacy. So we always tell 4s that, if you're a coach or you're giving us talk or whatever, like show up to the speech a little bit early and network a little bit. You're the networker. So network a little bit, establish some sort of rapport. That way, when you externalize whatever you're here to share or to coach or whatever, there will be that kind of like, little bit of relationship already established for people to hear what it is that you have to say.
That's so true. And by the way,
yeah,
probably too much information, but not from me because I'm just open. I've never had a one night stand. I don't know how the hell I've managed to not do that because of my past, but literally I've never had like a random one night stand, which is kind of really interesting now because that's obviously my number. So
and a lot of 4s won't have. There was a 4 and they said I had a one night stand once, but it lasted for 4 years. It's like, thinking there's a one night stand, it's not really gonna be. And that doesn't mean that you can't. There's no rules in human design. These are just kind of archetypes and how other people may see you as a friends first type of energy, and that can really explain a lot, as when we look at profile. So after those first 30 years of being the 6, and this is more of your body type energy. So you might physically have bumped into things in your life. You might physically have gone through scenarios that didn't work out for you. Once you hit about 30 and you go through your Saturn return, we say that the 6 goes up on the roof. You're done with that first trial and error process, that discovery, and you kind of take a step back and you look, what did I just go through? What happened? What can I take from those experiences? But I also need to take a break. My body wants a reprieve from what just happened. So usually when, my brother is a 4/6 like you. When my brother hit
he's a
30,
manifestor too, right?
And he's a manifester. Yeah. And he's a manifester. Yeah. So you guys are very similar. When he hit 30, all of a sudden he wanted to settle down. He wanted to find a career that was more stable. He proposed to his girlfriend. He got married. You can really see this kind of shift happen. And it takes, it depends on who you are, how long it takes to kind of get up on the roof. But I really noticed a shift from this kind of crazy, wild, hopping all over the world, like going all these different places to, hey, I'm done. I want to settle down. What did I learn? So you really step into this kind of on the roof phase. And then after I think about 50, there's another stage where you come back off the roof, re-engage with life, and you turn into the role model. The 6 is the role model. So you're the networker role model in this life. And so what that really means is that within your network, within your close relationships and your close friend group, you're going to be somebody that people look up to. you're going to be somebody, when you give advice, it's going to carry a lot of weight because you've been there, done that. You've gone through your process. And now you have wisdom to offer. The 4-6 really, it kind of has that role to play. So this is like, what are your roles in this life? And then we can look at, bonding strategies with, how do you operate in relationship and sexuality and all. There's so much cool stuff that we can look at from those numbers, but that's what we call profile. So you have your profile, you have your type, that kind of, those two things combined is really how you're meant to meet the world and how people see you.
Wow. And just to clarify what you've said about the 6, I know because we had our personal design, but for 30 years, I mean, probably not since I was born, but from the age of 9, but for 30 years of my life, I've struggled with disordered eating, body image struggles, failed relationships. And then it was literally like something weird happened. The second I turned 30, I started my healing journey from disordered eating. I became certified and qualified and became a coach. I'm now settled in a amazing relationship, and we get married next year. It's crazy how it was just like everything just shifted, and now I'm a coach, as you know, so I share the wisdom of my experience. It's just like magic.
I mean, beautiful. That it's such a testament to these archetypes, and how I think it can really help is like, if you were, so many people come to me who are before their Saturn return. And I think the mentality is like, I'm behind. I need to have everything figured out. Why am I not in my relationship yet? Why have I not found my career yet? All this stuff we think in our 20s, we think this stuff, and if you look at these, these cycles, which astrology looks at and we really get into in human design, it's like, you don't really flower until you're 50. This is really the later stage in life when we fully step into our purpose. Those first 30 years, it's a fucking crapshoot, yes. And if you're a 3 or a 6, it's like, buckle up. It's trial and error. We're not supposed to have anything figured out at that point. So there's so much permission to just like explore and experiment, and don't be so hard on yourself, have some fun. If you haven't found any of that stuff yet, probably because you're not supposed to. We're kids at that point, and you can't tell 20-year-olds that, because you couldn't tell me that when I was 20, and it goes on and on. But it's so like, I think if you get this information early on, it's such you can just relax into it and enjoy the process a little bit more. And no one's behind. Time was an illusion. We made it up. Everybody's on their own trajectory, so it's just, I think it can be very helpful for young people.
Wow, that you've just delivered so much value, Travis. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please share, and obviously everything will be linked below, but please share where people can be in your world, how they can book a reading, which I highly, highly, highly recommend. And I'd go for is it 60 minutes and 90 minutes?
So now I'm only doing 90-minute introductory.
Yeah, I was going to say,
readings.
Because you need 90 minutes.
We could, I could talk for hours, but I think that a 90-minute is really a great introduction. I explain how the chart works in like 5 minutes, so you can literally pull up anybody in your life. That's one of the most fun things. Once you do this, you're like, oh, I can see how people affect me. Where are you conditioned by the people around you based on your center? So you'll pull up your family and your friends, and I can teach you in 5 minutes how to kind of read any chart. And you pulled
Wouter's my fiance in my session. You pulled his up as well, which was like an extra treat for me. And then you explained how our relationship dynamic fits together. So there's a ton that you can do with this. So how can people experience your magic?
Find me on Instagram. That's the best place. I really have been enjoying my Instagram lately. Travis.day. You can find me there. I have a link tree in my bio where you can book a reading, and I have a little some more information on the sessions that I offer on there. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM. I'd love to answer anything that you're left with after listening to this.
Amazing. And you have a podcast, right?
I do. So it's in the works. I started a podcast before I found human design called Stupid Beautiful. And it literally was a human design podcast before I found human design. The premise was exactly the same. Wow. Now that I'm, fully immersed and this has really taken over, I'm starting a human design podcast that will be coming out very, very shortly. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll be the first to know when I make my announcement and start doing it more from a human design lens. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Everyone listening, go and get a reading. It's so worth it, I promise you. And thank you for your time and wisdom, Travis. You are amazing.
Thank you so much for having me. It was the questions that bring out the wisdom. So thank you for being you. I had a great time.
Yay. Thank you. And see you next time, Queens.